Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Hypatia Investathon. In this episode, we're tackling the emergency fund. The emergency fund is a key asset that will help you on your journey to future financial freedom. You should think of the concept of an emergency fund as an emergency for two reasons. First, it exists to cover you in the case of unexpected expenses, and second, if you do not have one, it is an emergency that you make one. No matter what your goals, income, or current situation, if you do not have an emergency fund, it is really important that you start building one. An emergency fund needs to be there to keep you resilient in times of uncertainty. You have to have enough of a buffer in your life so that a single unexpected event is not financial ruin. If that sounds ridiculous to you, about 40% of Americans are one $500 emergency away from financial ruin. Now, how much should your emergency fund be? We believe between 3 and 6 months of total living expenses. In other words, 3 to 6 months of 80% of your current after tax income. How long will it take to build this emergency fund? Assuming you are following a 50-30-20 budget, it should take between 1 to 2 years of saving 20% of your after tax income to reach the full 6 months. But think of it this way. Once you have your emergency fund, you will feel much more freedom and less stress if you decide you want to change jobs or have a life situation that throws you a financial curveball. The point is, you must have it because you'll never know when you need it. Without an emergency fund, you really cannot have financial stability. So, how do you save an emergency fund? First, give yourself a realistic goal based on your budget. If you want to feel secure faster, you may even want to dig into the 30% of your wants. A good idea is to set the money aside weekly so it seems less daunting. Most importantly, no matter how much you are saving every week, this money should not be easily available to you. It should not be in a place that is tied to your debit card or checking account. Money that is instantly accessible to you at any moment's notice is money that you are going to have a harder time saving. We highly recommend having your emergency fund in a savings account at a different bank from where you have your checking accounts, so you can't even be tempted to cross transfer them. But, at the very least, have it in a separate savings account. One important note here is that it should not be in an investment account or invested in securities. It must be liquid, which means that it is easily accessible and convertible to cash, both of which are crucial in the time of an emergency. But there's a big difference between the money being liquid on a day's notice and on a second's notice, and the difference is keeping it away from your checking account. Keep in mind when you're saving for your emergency fund is that your budget is actually 50-20-30. The 20% of saving must come before your 30% of wants. A good practice when building your emergency fund is to take advantage of any and all unexpected cash influxes, whether that's a tax return, a check from your grandmother on your birthday, or some unexpected refund. Any money that you were not expecting to have should go into your emergency fund because it is the money that you are the least likely to miss. When saving up your emergency fund, consider yourself in a state of emergency. You may want to cut further into your 20% to get out of that state. If you do, one way to offset that is to rotate the parts of your budget that you are cutting heavily from every month. So, let's say one month you decide not to go out to restaurants or bars. Well, then maybe next month you're saying no shopping. Then the following month you switch to all generic brands. The next month you're committing yourself to using only public transportation and your own 2 feet. The more you can make every month feel like a distinct and different challenge, the less you will feel like you are just being punished all the time. It's crazy how much your brain doesn't miss something as much when it's changing every month. While there is no shortcut to saving an emergency fund, you have to do it. Think of it as a mental gift to yourself. It is such a great feeling to know that if the unexpected happens, you have it financially covered. Seeing your emergency fund as a gift to your mental health is a great way to stay motivated. After all, having that emergency fund can literally be the difference between staying for decades in a job you hate and having the courage to change your career path early on. At the end of the day, so many of our choices are just based on whether or not we have the freedom and flexibility to make them. So don't think of the cuts you are making to build your emergency fund as a punishment, think of them as a gift. You want to build the financial freedom to live the life that makes you happy. An emergency fund is the first step to making that happen. Thanks for being part of the Hypatia Investathon. We love being part of your journey to future financial freedom. And remember, the Hypatia Investathon is an educational program meant to get you started on your journey. It is not investment or tax advice, nor is it a specific recommendation for any security. It is all about learning what is possible. Let's keep going. If you want to get started, the probable first step is opening a Roth IRA. Please consider starting your Roth IRA, or other investing account through the link in the description below to help Hypatia Invest continue to provide the financial literacy program free of charge. Hypatia only works with brands we believe in.